Diablo Immortal had probably one of the most controversial launches in video game history. It had a huge backlash and hate from the community, accusing the game of being nothing more than a cash grab, and at the same time, Immortal had the biggest launch of the Diablo franchise. It's safe to say that the community has never been more divided, but it doesn't have to be that way anymore. After a year of release, it's time to put the hate aside. The game has come a long way, and it's a perfect moment to give Diablo Immortal a second shot. First, don't hate me. I want to clarify that I'm not doing this to clean Blizzard's name or the game's name. I'm doing this for you, the player, so you don't miss a game that can give you a fun time for free, and for me, so I can get some beautiful views and be famous, but mostly for you. To be honest, I was one of many people who stayed away from Immortal when it was first released due to all the hate it got, which honestly it was deserved, but wanted to give it a try after all this time and see for myself if it was still as bad as everyone says. And to be honest, I couldn't be more surprised. A long time has passed since that horrible release. They have added plenty of stuff and made plenty of changes. As soon as you get into the game, you realize how good the controllers are, how fun the gameplay feels, as addictive and responsive as any other Diablo game. Of course, this game is no Diablo 2, let alone Diablo 1, but it's important to remember that Immortal is not trying to replace any of the main Diablo games. Immortal is first of all a mobile game, meant to be played when lying on your bed, while in the bathroom, or when you're waiting for someone in any place. It's a game you can fire up, play for 15 minutes, close it, and then continue with your life. That being said, you can also play for hours and hours non-stop if that's what you desire. Diablo Immortal is an MMO, something like World of Warcraft, but set in Sanctuary, and that in my opinion is what makes this game different and great in its own way, but more on that in a minute. First, I want to talk about the campaign. I was expecting that being a side mobile game, maybe it will have a side excuse of a story, but it's not like that. It may not have super vital events, which is natural for a non-main game, but the story is actually interesting. It takes place 5 years after the events of Diablo 2. After the World Stone was destroyed, pieces of it are scattered through Sanctuary, causing trouble where they landed, and you go basically on a hunt to recover and destroy them. Of course, the story goes deeper than that, but I just want to give an idea on how cool this is. Just to put an example, there is a quest where you travel back in time to the moment where Bale was capturing the Soul Stone by Tal Rasha and you help him. Like, you actually live the moment. There is really cool stuff like that happening in this game that is worth to play by yourself. You get to visit many interesting and different places, seeing some familiar faces and new characters too, with great boss fights and interesting sequences that I can assure you wouldn't expect from a mobile game. And just to be clear, I beat the campaign playing solo without a problem and without paying a single dime. And that alone, in my opinion, is worth downloading the game. The gameplay feels amazing. You get to choose from 6 different and well-known classes: the Barbarian, Crusader, Demon Hunter, Monk, Necromancer, and Wizard, with an all-new class to be released in a few days, the Blood Knight. Each class plays as you would expect. It's up to you what role you want to pick. Like in any Diablo game, you start with just your basic attack, and as you progress, you unlock a variety of skills. What's interesting is that the legendary drops that you get can change the way your skill works. For example, this ability that drops a sword, and if you press it again, you are teleported to where the sword landed, dealing damage in the area, can change if you equip this legendary weapon. Now what the skill does, that 5 swords drop down and electrify the area around you, dealing lightning damage. Pretty cool, huh? And you can find different equipment that changes the behavior of each one of your abilities, and each ability has like 2 or 3 different ways it can change to. So there is a lot of variation in how you can build your characters. I'm not a big mobile gamer, and when I do, I try to stick with simple casual games to play for 5 minutes, especially because I feel like complicated games like this are going to be hard to control, or that it won't feel natural, being so used to a controller and mouse and keyboard. But it's not the case with Diablo Immortal, and even though you can actually play the game on PC too, sometimes I found myself feeling more comfortable on the phone. Now, alongside the campaign, you have different things to do, from basic stuff like daily bounties to this type of dungeons called Elder Rifts and Challenge Rifts. You can do raids where you fight different bosses and other stuff. By the way, all of this is doable either with a team or on your own. If you're a completionist, you also have a section of achievements that make you feel like every action in the game has a purpose, and you get a reward for it, of course. A bestiary that you fill with information of enemies you kill, getting also rewards for each one you complete. There's just a lot of stuff to do and a lot of ways to get rewards and XP that can actually feel overwhelming, but at the same time, it gives you the freedom to pick how you want to progress. And last but not least, the community aspect, which has been the best part in my opinion and the main focus of the game. Except for some moments in the campaign where you have to do things on your own, all the activities are doable with other players. You don't have to. You can always play alone, but the possibility is there. And if you don't have friends to play with, it's so easy to meet new people here. First, you always get this find party button, where it's basically matchmaking. The game groups you with other players trying to do the same activity. After you are done, you can either stick with them or leave the party and look for new people. The game has voice chat included, which I haven't used so far, to be honest, since you can also text chat, and that has been enough for me to communicate. If you want to join a community, you have two options. You can join a clan and find a big group of people that way. They often have a Discord server in the description so you can hang outside the game too. Clans were made to either get together and participate in important activities or just chill and make friends. And you also have warbands, which is like a clan but in smaller groups. Joining a clan and a warband unlocks new activities, by the way, and you get more free rewards too. It also helps with your mental health, so I would definitely join one if I were you. Everything I've done so far has been really smooth and without problems, but I have yet to experiment and explore a lot of the other stuff too. Maybe at some point I will encounter a paywall, a moment where it would be too difficult for me to progress if I don't pay, and if that ever happens, well, at least I have plenty of hours of fun without paying a single penny. I haven't done much PvP since it's not my thing. I did join a couple of matches and had fun fighting other players, and I actually killed more than the times I died, but I could imagine how people who pay for stuff can have an advantage in the PvP scene. So probably there's where the gap will be more noticeable, but what I'm trying to tell you is that even if you do encounter some moments where it's obvious the game is trying to get some money from you, just avoid that and keep enjoying the content that you do get for free. And when that content is over, if it ever is, well, just like with any other video game you have ever played, call it done and move to the next game while they add more free stuff to do. At least I can 100% assure you the campaign is fully playable without paying, and all the activities that I mentioned are also fully playable without spending any money. And that, in my opinion, is just worth. I can assure you, you're gonna have a fun time. I'm not sure how many hours you're gonna enjoy the game for, but as many as you do, it's gonna be for free, and that is important to remember. I hope you do give the game a try, and if you do, I really hope you enjoy it. It's cool to think that I could help someone to have a good time. I also hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.